the amount of attention to detail and just the insane amount of knowledge that people carry and can put out is really inspiring, and that really drives what PHAR does. This idea that residents should be empowered, right? But that needs to be recognized by the rest of the community, the rest of the Charlottesville community and everywhere else, right? So if residents are going to be empowered and they're going to have some say over their future, you have to recognize them as the experts, and you really can't question it. I think our job, part of my job is to help people get the tools to be able to understand policies, to be able to understand certain things, but it's their decisions, and that's what the positive vision is really kind of all about. So as redevelopment had stalled, as we were dealing with the really hostile housing authority, ideas kept coming up that PHAR had to confront and basically say no to, and we did a lot of that, and we're really good at that, right? So if you come to us with a really bad idea, we're going to shut it down, and we still have that in our back pocket. That's something we are extremely good at. Housing Authority came through at us with the rental assistance demonstration, which would convert our public housing. You had the SIA process, which included residents and included PHAR, but didn't recognize any of their input in that plan and came up with a terrible plan. We haven't shut the SIA down, but we've significantly changed that over a number of years. But what happened was we got tired of saying no. We got tired of saying, we can't just sit around and expect a future to materialize if we're just responding and reacting to bad stuff and saying no. So the PHAR board said, through a strategic planning process, we're going to create our own future. We're going to have a resident-directed vision of what the future is going to be like. And we set about crafting the positive vision for redevelopment. We did that a number of ways, not just through surveys, but we did piles of workshops, we did work sessions, we did trainings, and we eventually brought it all together. And we have it put in a document, and we call it a living document. It's going to get a major revision very soon. As you can see, it's been about 2 years now since we put the first draft out. Positive vision is basically saying this is what residents want. This is what we can support. If the rest of the city and the housing authority and everybody else can go out and make this stuff happen, then we should be golden. What we've come to learn since, and I think we'll hear from them a little bit, is it's actually gone a little further than that. It's gone beyond the point of saying, we want you to implement this into, we actually want to implement this ourselves. So we've taken the steps over the past 2 years to place more residents in more places of decision-making power, and now we're looking at ways, how do we get residents and the resident council, which is PHAR, more directly involved in the processes, potential ownership of redevelopment. So what Positive Vision really relies on kind of 3 sections. The first is general principles, and these are pretty great. So Dave mentioned the Residents' Bill of Rights for redevelopment. We double checked with residents that they still support the Residents' Bill of Rights for redevelopment, and of course, and they do. And so the Residents' Bill of Rights and the things that are contained in it, 1-for-1 replacement of like-kind units, the right to return, public input, supporting economic advancement of our folks through the process, that's the basis, that's the foundation for all decision making. So in addition to that, I'm getting the 1-minute sign, so I told you I could talk. So residents should be included in all the decision making, and this is a real no-brainer, but it has to be spelled out. The new housing has to be fundamentally better than what currently exists, and that seems like a real no-brainer, but it's vital to residents that this is acknowledged and that this is the case. Unused land, Housing Authority has some unoccupied land, and that is the proper place to build. It can help for relocation, but it's also the place to experiment with density because nobody's there, and it's not going to affect sites where people currently live. We got into mixed income, and what we really did is we had to push back about deconcentration. We still do that, but I think we've kind of rhetorically won that idea to thinking about mixed income only as a strategy and not as a philosophy for transforming neighborhoods. So we say mixed income communities can be built, but you can do it in a way that protects existing neighborhoods from gentrification and increases in density, particularly if we have unused land. And then ultimately, redevelopment offers historic opportunities to fundamentally repair low-income communities, improve the housing authority, and make amends for the past. So we say, Charlottesville owes. This is one piece of reparations that can be provided to the people of Charlotte. We can do this through the redevelopment process. So I'm going to turn it over to other folks. The other parts are really about what residents support. It's highly detailed, talks about relocation, but I'm more interested in hearing from our resident leaders and what they think about the vision and where we're going with it and all that great stuff.
Audrey?
So I'm not going to take as much time as Dave and Brandon did. But for me, I want to talk about the knowledge of empowerment, because that's what we deal with. I know when I first came on the board about 10 years ago, I used the word empowerment a lot. And I had a commissioner that sat on the board with me, and it just drove her crazy for me to use the word empowerment all the time. And I couldn't figure out for a long time why it bothered her so much. But I clearly understand to this day why it did, because knowledge is the key. And we have a lot on our plate, a whole lot on our plate. And, we're constantly learning. And I think that's what has gotten us to the point where we are now. The residents are so smart, and we're so knowledgeable about the HUD regulations, and we deal with people every day who wants to try to work around the HUD regulations, and they don't get it. You just can't work around those regulations. So we're very knowledgeable of the regulation, more so than most people. And we just have people who are constantly coming around who wants to just take over and just do their own thing and just make things happen their way. And because of the knowledge that we have, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So for me, it's about the power and the knowledge that we have, and that we're going to keep on pushing and we're going to keep on learning. We're not going to go away, and we're not going to let anybody take anything from us, because this is our house. This is our house.
Oh, it's my turn. All right. Just to touch on what Audrey said, not only are we knowledgeable, but we have, a lot of our residents have skills that, we don't even know about. We have, I know one of them just became an asset manager for the Housing Authority. She just got hired and she's trained and everything. She's an asset manager. A lot of us have skills for construction. Like, a lot of us are certified in certain things, and then we go out to try to find these jobs in this community, and we get turned down. Why? We have the skills. Why won't you hire us? And I think that's very important about what Section 3 is for. We have these residents who need jobs. They want to work. Not all public housing residents just sit at home all day, just so you know, because I sure don't. I work 40 hours a week. Just in general, we want to be included in what goes on in our community. And like Audrey said, if you don't like that, then we're going to shut it down. We're just going to, nope, you cannot do that. Sorry. Oh, you got that one? Okay.
Am I on? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they get the loud microphone. But they all know that my mouth is loud enough to be able to handle a low microphone. So Why is this meeting important to me and should be important to you? Audrey Oliver was correct. Knowledge is power, but I believe that knowledge with understanding is the key. We can receive a lot of knowledge, but if we don't understand the knowledge that we're receiving, then we can't build on it and we can't act on it. My question, or your question, should be, out of all the homes being built in the city of Charlottesville, how many of them allocated access to low income, very low income, the extremely low income, homelessness and poverty, or extended their hands to the housing authority to start a relationship so that we could stand up? So we stood up as the PHAR board. Housing for low income opens doors, not just for quality living space, but for life opportunities. As we talked about before, the Section 3 program opens up opportunities for jobs. We have a home ownership program that's being put in place. We have the PHAR board that residents are involved in, to not just come in and learn about the financial institutions of the housing authority, but to learn about how housing even became, how it came to be, what happened here, what was urban renewal, what happened at Vinegar Hill. It teaches them history so that they have not just knowledge, but a foundation of what's going on in Charlottesville and why there's a need for change and why there's a need for help in low-income housing. The Bill of Rights makes sure that the residents have a voice to say so. Resident leadership, decision making, and jobs. They've killed programs in the neighborhood that encourages the residents to want to step up. Housing authority is supposed to be a step. It's not supposed to be a handicap. And so we are here to say that we stand up. Gentrification, by definition of Google, I'm going to read this to y'all, because some of us, like I said, we have knowledge but not understanding. How many of us just heard the word gentrification but don't really know what it means? It says the process of renovating and improving a house or district so that it conforms to middle class taste. How many of us live in low income housing have middle class money? Okay, that answers my question because nobody raised their hand. The process of making a person or activity more refined or polite. How can you be refined or polite if you bound and restricted because you don't have money to fit into middle class? So I'm saying to you all, the question we should be asking, or the question that you should be asking is, how is what's going on in Charlottesville benefiting low income? We should be worried.
Yes.
Very well said by all of our panelists. We've got about 18 minutes left. I thought we could open it up for some questions from the audience, unless anybody else has anything else you want to add before we open it up. All right, so questions from the audience. Anyone?
No, jump at once.
All right, we've got two. Oh, or comments.
I don't know how this will,
We can hear.
okay, I don't know how this will be received, but I hate the word gentrification because I find it an insult to the people who lived in the neighborhoods I grew up in. They were gentry. So I wish we could get away from using that word, okay? It implies something that they were somehow less than or not as good as, and I wish somebody would come up and be really creative and come up with another way to say that. Because those neighborhoods were full of people who should be considered gentry.
So we do have a term that we use sometimes, and JR kind of helped us with this one. A lot of times we can refer to gentrification as urban and economic cleansing because that's what it is. It's purging neighborhoods and changing neighborhoods into something that they aren't. So feel free to use that term. I think that's a powerful term. It describes accurately what goes on, and I think there are definitely certain forces in the city of Charlottesville that look at it that way. They don't call it cleansing, but there are definitely forces in this town that are pushing for that. You know, other folks just kind of let it happen. They don't quite recognize it for what it is, but it can be, it's powerful stuff, and, you know, we need to find ways to confront it. I think what PHAR and the Housing Authority can do together to confront it is to redevelop our housing, to put residents in control, and to build additional affordable housing. And I think that's for extremely low income people, people who need it. And that's how we push back against gentrification, at least from what PHAR's role might be.
So I guess my question for the board is, you know, for good or for ill, there's a lot of new interest in the world of affordable housing here in Charlottesville. Like, lots of people are kind of trying to get a piece of it. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but trying to have input. And I guess my question is, like, why do y'all think that suddenly there's this new surge of interest in doing something about or to the low-income community here in Charlottesville?
I'll let you go first this time. I've done that. I'll answer that. You go ahead. I'll answer that. Go ahead, answer that. You want to answer that?
Go ahead, Beth.
Go ahead, Joey.
It's my assumption, just based on what I'm learning, when I travel a lot, the word is, Charlottesville is where you can come to make money, as far as developers. I sat at a table when someone didn't know I was from Charlottesville, and was basically passing it on to another person, a developer, that Charlottesville is a place. That's an assumption, right? 'Cause but I think part of it goes back to the history of laws that was made. I mean, you know, we are in this landlocked thing. Correct me, my history may be wrong, Ms. Edwards, you've been here much longer than I have, but there was this deal about not being able to annex over 100 years.
Yes.
And so it kind of locked it in, and so now every little piece of critical slope is valuable. And developers can make money and take it out. That's just, it may be a much deeper, but just from where I am and what I'm learning is because, you know, most of the developers who bring, and you know, Ms. Oliver is so smart because I didn't pay attention to that, and I thought I was a nosy person. But most of the folks who comes in, most of these guys that you see parking in our neighborhoods and fill these hotels or whatever, they are union workers being brought in to make money here, and then it goes back out the community, and nothing goes in this community. So Charlottesville is a moneymaker for a lot of folks, except for the people who live here.
The people who live here. This mic not gonna reach.
Tita.
For all of the hotels that they're building here, how many, why don't they have a certain number of low-income buildings going up? Or I should say, how many low-income buildings are being built right now?
None.
And you know, comparison to all of the hotels, there's like a hotel now on every corner, or a brewery on every corner. So where's the housing in all of that?
So I would like to go back to this gentleman's question, and just to piggyback on what Joy said, or to add to, relationships are good. We want to have relationships because that's what we find you can build. But at the same time, what we want is for that, we don't want for them to strip the purpose, the goal, or the objective to make their own principles and create a direction that's not our mission. So when I say we stand up, those are the places where we stand up.
I'm a former public housing resident and a former board member of PHAR. And I just want to say that
I applaud you guys for doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. And I'd also like to put forth a question is, those that are living in public housing, when I became a board member, they said to me, would you purchase your unit if you were able to? Sure, I would purchase it. But they, over the years, they haven't done anything with that. You know, they need to consider that some of these people work 2, 3 jobs to pay rent in public housing. When my rent went up to $1,200 a month, I was out of there. That's way too much for public housing. And my next door neighbor was paying 25. No, that was too much for me. So why don't they offer an incentive for the residents that are hardworking and help them build their credit so they can purchase a house or purchase their unit? And that would eliminate some of the problems with housing in the city.
I'm pretty sure we do have a, what is it, FSS coming up too? Is that still going? I think it's being reworked to the point where, how can I put this nicely? Okay, so the history of FSS is family self-sufficiency, and what they would do is when you go pay your rent, they will put your money in an escrow account. And you can use that escrow account to essentially buy your unit. What they were doing with that escrow account was when people had lease violations, they would just take your money. So you would you would pay your rent on time every time, you would work hard to pay your rent every time on time, and then would take your money. And you would just essentially be at square one, and then possibly have an eviction notice on your door because you had a simple lease violation. I want to go back to the question about the hotels and affordable housing. There is none. It's just the simple truth of the fact that there is none. And I remember, y'all know this new development on Main Street behind Hardy Drive. I remember we talked to those people before they came, and they said, you know, okay, we'll put some money in or put some money in somewhere, and you know they'll come and we'll build some units and everything. When developers come to Charlottesville, they have an option. The 2 options are I can either put money in a pot or I can build some units. I'm gonna put money in that pot because I'm not gonna build no units. And I think that's the main issue is why are we offering people to put money in a pot that already has a surplus of money in it anyway?
And who benefits?
And nobody in this town benefits from that pot of money.
Developers.
But nobody but developers. So if you're gonna have people come and build here, you need to have them build low income, very low income, extremely low income units. Because we as the working class people of this town, we cannot afford what they are charging for these rents. And we need somewhere to live too.
So my second question is, what can we do as a group?
What can we do as a group? We can go to city council and tell them, you listen, what we need you to do is define low income in this town because we do not have a definition for that. And I think once we define low income or however we want to define it or however we want to say it, low income, very low income, extremely low income, or just include all that in the umbrella. Once we define that, I think, in my opinion, we'll have a better shot at trying to figure out what we need.
Part of the issue in Charlottesville, was real quick, was that for decades the city government said public housing is not our problem. That's federal housing. We don't fund it. That's a separate silo, and that wall has started to crumble now. And now we have the city paying more attention, but they need to pony up some dollars and to make sure that public housing doesn't continue going the direction it's going in. So there are some real opportunities to make that happen, and the city does have funds, and we need to keep working to break down that wall because it is all of our problem. It is all of our opportunity. We can make public housing better.
No, I would just add to this, one thing that we can do is stop kind of relying on developers to make it happen, and that's where PHAR has been heading for a little bit of time, which is let's get PHAR to go out and make redevelopment a reality. Let's do everything we can to redevelop our public housing and provide more affordable housing. And we've been able to partner with Housing Authority, and I think we're moving in that direction. I mean, that's who's gonna build it, right? City of Charlottesville's not gonna do it. We want their money, right? And I think they'll put up some money. They've gotten a lot of pressure from all of y'all over the last year, year and a half, about expanding affordable housing in Charlottesville, and that kind of for extremely low income people. That kind of pressure just needs to be sustained, and you know, if they're not going to do it, give us the resources so that residents themselves can go out and make this vision a reality.
So, oh yeah.
You need the mic. I'm sorry, Audrey.
Can I speak? I'm like Brandon, I can talk all day, so I won't either. But my thing is, I lived in public housing for 11 years, raising 3 children. And it bothers me, you know, looking back, because I never qualified for anything, no help. So I ended up working 3 jobs. So every time I would work an extra job, my rent went up.
Yep.
So it was like, I'm gonna be caught here forever. But God worked with me because I believe in the Lord. I got out of public housing, and I've been owning my home for 25 years. I live on Page. Now, this thing is coming up at these city council meetings, and, you know, with me always, you know, gaining knowledge, because knowledge is success. You know, you can do a lot. It's really, yeah, it's really powerful. That here, power. I keep hearing that they want to make Charlottesville maybe what is it, middle income, white town. So that's to me, they are saying they want us out, even though I'm a homeowner and really extremely low income. So where are they gonna put us? I went to all of those meetings when the developers came in, so I voiced my opinion. So one of them asked me, well, where should we build, you know, low income? I say anywhere except the country. Our older people do not drive at night. I'm getting there now. They don't, some of them don't own cars. They got doctor's appointment every time you turn around. So how do they get back and forth? Because the John bus, somebody needs to, we're looking to that. It's a lot of issues. I stay involved and I go to all these meetings. So I'm very concerned what's going on here. And you know, and they got to help people. This is our town. Come on, y'all. We've been, some of us, older people, all the people that's died and put effort into making this town a success, it's like they're overlooking these people. I mean, people with money, my God, you can't take it when you go. Help people. People need help. Don't just ignore people and not try to help anybody. It bothers me. Now, another thing bothers me, Crescent Hall, I just heard the other day, they had some more problems with the sewer. Why aren't they doing something about those people? They are human beings. They are not, I mean, my God, everybody can't help because they don't have money. We can have money because I work 3 jobs, like I said. Now I'm retired and I still don't have anything. Everything going up but my Social Security, retirement. Now they want to try to take my house because already in my neighborhood, y'all know what's going on Page Street. Everybody in this town know. I'm very mad because across the street they put that, the total for that home was $325,000. Could I afford it if I didn't have a house right now? So what are they doing? Moving us out and moving the others in that has money. They don't want us here. And why? After a while, it might become, I don't mean no harm when I say it, all white middle class town. Who's going to do all this work that people don't want to do, that they don't pay any money? That's all I have to say.
So actually, we only have 1 minute left, so I want to give Ms. Talbert the last comment, and unless anybody else has any final words they want to say, but I know you've been waiting to say something.
So I just wanted to say one thing we can do is understand that low income is a branch with many vines. We look at low income often as just money. But low income, we have to realize, is not just money. It's the people, it's children, it's homes, it's jobs. It's not just low income. Let's stop looking at it as just low income. When you say low income from now on, see a face of a low income resident. When you say low income or very low income or extremely low income, you see those children that are out here playing in the street in poverty. Don't just keep looking at the word, but see the people that it's affecting, the people that low income is defining when you say low income. And what can we do about that? We can put ourselves in the shoes of those people that are low income.
On that note, thank you all so very much, and we'll now move on to our next panel. Thank you to all of our panelists.
transition to the next panel, one quick piece of housekeeping. There's a sign-in sheet in the back. Please sign in, give us your information. We'd love to be able to keep in touch with you and to talk to you about more. Our next panel should start coming to the front. It'll be moderated by Paul Martin, who has everyone's bios. So get some refreshments, use the restroom, and we'll reconvene in just a moment or so.
Make sure none of y'all trip on this. Hi. Yeah,